anyone in the world, and you know, can they beat Misty and Kerri twice? That remains to be seen, but you know, more importantly, they have to deal with Kerri Walsh's block, and the better they deal with that, the better their chances are to scrap, play defense, and contend.
So we're set, ready for the Chicago Open. Misty May and Kerri Walsh, they're actually on a 2-match losing streak to Davis and Jordan. Davis and Jordan beat them in Manhattan and stopped that 15-tournament, 90-match win streak. They also beat them yesterday in a semifinal. First dig. Jordan, I think.
With her left hand, maybe, but you mentioned a 2-match losing streak. That's the only team in the world that has any kind of a win streak on it. Walsh and May looking so completely dominant throughout the Olympics. May have had a little easy not having Jordan and Davis there.
Misty's there. And Davis goes and gets it. And Davis and Jordan cannot convert. Davis and Jordan, an outstanding team. They have 8 career wins together. Jenny Johnson-Jordan, she's 30 years old now, 5'10", born in Sherman Oaks, California, in her 7th season, a UCLA graduate. Both UCLA players here. And the roof at the net for Kerri Walsh. That's one thing Walsh does better than any other player in the world. So Jordan is on the left, the far side, and Annette Davis is on the right side. Annette Davis is 30, born in Bellflower, California. A UCLA graduate back in 1996. Misty, left hand, no, can't get there.
And sometimes it just amazes me, the strategy. I mean, Kerri Walsh just absolutely clamps Jenny Jordan, and they come back the very next play and serve Annette Davis.
You and I have been watching teams do that all weekend long. It's amazing. Get 3 points off a player, 2 points, and then serve the other person. Unbelievable.
Here is Annette Davis. Pac-10 Player of the Year back in '94 as an indoor player, 2000 Olympian. And Misty hits it out. So Misty with the spiking error. Annette Davis, one of the most feared spikers in America, now living in Valencia, California, married to a former swimmer, I should say, Byron Davis.
She's got a really unique serve here, this one-footed approach that's been giving teams trouble all weekend long.
Davis, Jordan, can't get there.
It's not quite, that serve is not quite like the layup approach serve that we saw during the Olympics, where teams are actually, or players are trying to run way into the court, but she's getting higher and hitting it flatter, and it's been very effective.
Now Kerri Walsh to serve, and Walsh into the bottom of the net. It's easy to say it because we've watched them play. Walsh and May, the Golden Girls, trying to crank it out. It's 4-3 here in game 1. Stay with us.
You have been a great audience, but I'm gonna ask you to stay away from the chicken selects or I will have you forcibly removed from the stadium. You play a mean bass, but if I see you even look at these chicken selects again, you're out of the band. I wanna play one last number.
Chicago Open presented by McDonald's, brought to you by Nissan, proud sponsor of AVP and all things summer. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the AVP. Fresh, smooth, real. It's all here. Misty May and Kerri Walsh, crowned gold medalist just about a week ago. Let's go back and relive some of that Olympic experience. One of the great stories in Athens, Greece, the Golden Girls, Misty and Kerri. Well, it's game 1 The start of our championship final here on NBC. Glad you're with us. Kerri and Misty going up against Davis and Jordan. How good are Davis and Jordan? They were the 5th ranked team in the world, and yet because of the qualification, they only take 2 teams per country. They were not able to go to the Olympics. They could have conceivably medaled.
Correct, because they were behind number 1, Walsh and May, and number 4, McPeak and Youngs, and only 2. There's a quota at the Olympics. If they expand it to a 32-team draw, then they might add a 3rd permissible team from each country.
Nice up by Jordan. And the put away for Kerri Walsh. Walsh and May, admittedly, running on fumes in this tournament. They've had a whirlwind tour. They're not at their best, but they find a way to make plays.
Well, they're so athletic, and they just gobble up the court defensively. Misty May so quick behind Kerri Walsh's block. This leads to a lot of easy points.
5-4, Misty May serving. Davis, and Davis hits it out. So Annette Davis with the spiking error, and it's 6-4, May Walsh.
That's something we didn't see a lot of from either Walsh or May during the Olympics, is tougher jump serving. They were very conservative with their serving, as was almost every team in the tournament. Probably just a more pressure-packed tournament.
Walsh and May content to keep the ball in play. 6-4, Jordan. And May goes on 2. Nice play. So there are some times when you can go on 2, even if you're standing on the ground, when the court is wide open.
Well, she jumped a little on that one, but you're much better off when we talk about hitting on 2, it means not using all 3 of your contacts that you can use on the court. And if you're going to put it over on the second contact, I think you're best off doing it jumping, and then you have 2 extra feet of trajectory to work with and hit it more down, and it's an easier put away.
7-4. And Davis over the top. We mentioned that Davis and Jordan have 8 career wins, but they haven't won in 2 years. Their last win right here in Chicago, August 24th, 2002. They were able to do it.
Got some good memories flowing into this final.
Absolutely. Davis and Jordan always have played well in Chicago. May tapping.
It's interesting you mentioned, Chris, haven't won in 2 years, and that happens to be the time that dates right back to the time that Walsh and May joined this tour, was at the end or at the beginning of 2003, and they have not won since, and that explains why almost no team on the AVP has won.
Yeah, when they joined up, things got a lot tougher for everybody.
9-5 with an ace serve. You look at the Nissan points leaders. Interestingly, Youngs and McPeak still are ahead. Why is that, Karch Karai?
That's because of Misty May's abdominal strain. She missed a number of events this year and made the wise decision, skipping those events and making herself healthy for the Olympics rather than trying to win the points race here and maybe costing themselves a gold medal.
9-5. Davis and Jordan having trouble controlling the ball. And it's off May. Nice shot. A good trouble shot by Jenny Johnson-Jordan. Of course, her father, Rafer Johnson, the greatest Olympian, well, maybe one of the greatest Olympians for the United States, the 2-time Olympic medalist in the decathlon. 9-6 now, and here's Misty. Misty May told me yesterday, I asked her, how are you getting by? How are you able to focus in this tournament? She says, my brain is mush. I am on autopilot. I am trying to grind my way through. I asked her if she'd been home. Nice up and the put away. I asked her if she had been home. She said for about 6 hours, but besides that, we've been on the go.
Well, her brain may be mush, but that gold medal is nice, rock hard, and it feels awfully good around their necks.
Now, Misty May will serve. 10-7, game 1. Oh, and Jordan couldn't quite get it up there. May and Walsh have accomplished so much in terms of volleyball, but boy, what they've done afterwards would qualify for an additional gold medal.
Hence the mush brain.
Here's Jordan. 11-7. Davis whacks it.
And Mike, after we faced each other for the gold medal in Atlanta, we went through the same thing. Neither of us were able to win that very next weekend.
Yeah.
It's so hard to keep your focus. So I admire the fact that May and Walsh were even able to get into the final in this weekend. Neither one of us was able to do that 8 years ago.
Well, that graphic is so interesting. You look at all the miles traveled and all the interviews. I think their only place that they can find some peace right now is actually on the volleyball court.
12-8 in game one. Our championship final. May and Walsh beat Holly McPeak and Elaine Youngs in the crossover semi to get here. Davis and Jordan knocking out Bush and Mason, who played very, very well. And the tap is out of bounds. So Davis and Jordan, who played so flawlessly yesterday, making some errors. And the gold medalists, Misty and Kerri, on top, 13-8.
Jump to a computer and log on to AVP.com to get the latest and official.
13-8, May and Walsh. We talked about the mileage and what have they been doing since the Olympics. We'll check some of this out. They've been on the cover of magazines, periodicals. They have toured. They actually got to go on the Jay Leno show late night.
Olympic champions, Misty May and Kerri Walsh.
Yes. Can you believe it? Beach volleyball players on Jay Leno. Matt Lauer, of course. Yeah, they made the rounds. Misty May and Kerri Walsh. Kerri Walsh told me that her most favorite thing was the Video Music Awards. She said that was really big time. That was really, really cool. And into the net. For more on that, let's go down to Heather Cox. Heather.
Well, you talked about the music awards and why they were so cool. Their favorite part, they actually flew a private jet home that MTV supplied so they could get back to the Today Show and the Tonight Show. It all started the night of the gold medal. They did NBC late night, the next morning up at the crack of dawn to do all the morning shows. They were everywhere, guys, and they are flat out exhausted. You said Misty's brain was mush. Kerri is fried as well. The one thing they said, they love it. About 5,000 fans here gathered asking for autographs. At 7:30 this morning, they were lined up to buy tickets, and they love what it's done for the sport.
15-8. The celebrities are leading. Walsh shoots it over.
Chris, you mentioned that Jay Leno appearance.
Yep.
I was asking Kerri about that yesterday. She said she actually was really disappointed because they were right behind a really funny comedian. They just felt that the interview was way too flat after that. Tough act to follow.
15-9. Oh, that was double contact and it wasn't called. And I think Davis and Jordan will have a gripe here. Let's see if they... Nope. Boy, Davis and Jordan, if there's ever been a criticism of them or just a concern is...
Almost too nice.
Exactly. That was a play that you or Karch or somebody would have been yelling on, wouldn't you?
There'd have been some heat toward the referee.
They're as talented as anybody on the beach. But both women are so pleasant and so kind.
And Jenny was saying yesterday, I said, well, okay, your 4-year plan going up to Athens was baby in year 1.
Yes.
Get back into it in year 2 and spend years 3 and 4 trying to qualify. Are you on that same path for Beijing? And they said, yep. maybe time again.
I talked to Jenny. She was saying, it's time. I'm ready. Bring it on.
17-9. Kerri Walsh and Misty May and Davis and Jordan in trouble here after a brilliant performance yesterday. They cannot get it going so far today. A 12-5 scoring run. And Dane Selznick, who is the coach for Misty and Kerri, he said part of the game plan coming in was to serve Jenny Jordan as much as possible.
Which is the standard strategy, but as you mentioned, Mike, they deviated from that tremendously yesterday, sending far too many serves toward her partner, Annette, and they are not doing that today and having a lot more success. Also, Jenny and Annette are having trouble. They can have the best float serves on the beach when they're really on, and today it doesn't seem like they have that real, that knuckleball effect working for them as much as yesterday.
And really, so far, their ball control is really what's let down Davis and Jordan.
Let's go down to Heather Cox quickly. Heather.
Jenny, a lot of volleyball experts think you are one of the top 5 teams, not in the U.S., but in the entire world, but you didn't get your Olympic chance. Is this your opportunity to make a statement today?
Yeah, I mean, for this is our Olympics. You know, this is our biggest event. We're in the finals, and we want to win. So, yeah.
You guys have had tremendous success, really the only team that's had success against Misty and Kerri. What has been the key to that success?
Everything that we're not doing right now, being consistent and controlling the ball. We're just not doing that, so that's why we're so far behind.
I'll let you get back to it. Thanks, Jenny.
My father had a great word that he used to like to use. You're getting shellacked, Chrissy. You're getting shellacked, and that's what's happening. A 17-9 game 1.
And man, Walsh, even earlier today, facing the bronze medalists, gave him a shellacking in the first game, 21-7. So even with the brains being mush and having trouble focusing, they are still clearly the best team in the world and capable of winning every time they play.
Misty May and Kerri Walsh. Are they the most famous volleyball players in history now? Well, only Kerri could dispute it, but you could make that argument. When the last time Karch Karai was on Jay Leno. Cut shot. Were you ever on Jay Leno, Karch?
Yeah, Kent and I went on right after the Olympics 8 years ago, and they did a funny little skit where they were giving Olympians who came on opportunities to do pitches for fake products. Ours was the bikini extractor.
Get the sand out of the bikini?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So May and Walsh can do the Speedo extractor now.
Sounds like something that could be useful. 18-10. The gold medalists on top. And Jordan and Davis are just making so many unforced errors. And that's really the difference between May and Walsh and McPeak and Youngs and some of the other teams. May and Walsh just don't make a lot of errors.
They put the pressure on, and we mentioned it earlier. Can they win 2 matches in a row against May and Walsh? I don't know if anyone's ever done that. And so far, so many unforced errors for Davis and Jordan.
20-10. Doubling up. Now, Kerri Walsh. First game point, it's out of bounds. Historically, teams root for the underdogs, but not here in Chicago. Misty May and Kerri Walsh romp in game 1. 21-10. Whew.
All right, you guys, if you keep up this behavior, I'm not having lunch with you anymore. No, you cannot have my chicken selects. Joey, I don't even have the box open 2 seconds, and you're going for my chicken selects? Mike, do you think I didn't see that?
Pandemonium here as the crowd going crazy with a wave. While we have a moment, the Bud Light Tournament recap in a semifinal. Walsh and May against McPeak and Youngs. Karch, what happened?
Well, Walsh and May came out on fire. It's very hard to beat any great team and give them less than 10 points. But the first game was 21-7. It's almost unheard of. But Holly and Elaine came back really strong in game 2 and made it a contest. But Walsh and May in game 3 were up 4-3, broke it open to 10-3. And then how did they do that?
They just cruised on in with great defense, and Kerri Walsh being very intimidating at the net.
Bud Light Tournament recap. Walsh and May have now beaten Youngs and McPeak 15 straight times.
Ouch.
15. Now, Misty May will serve. Game 1 was a spanking. If you heard some crying, that's why it was. It was a spanking. And now, Davis and Jordan. How do you consciously cut down on your errors, Mike Dodd?
Well, you just have to loosen up a little bit. They were so tight in the first game, and now, you know, you got to start the second, and you're starting, fortunately, at 0-0, so you can come out and just try to regain your focus.
Davis and Jordan have their first lead of the match at 1-0. Now we're tied 1-1.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how Walsh and May push here in game 2, because they've had a tendency this weekend in particular to not be able to finish a match early, and they've won their first game big and then somehow lost their second game.
1-1. Knuckled up. Free ball. Got a score here if you're Davis and Jordan. And going on 2 is Annette Davis. So she looks focused here as game 2 starts.
I still wonder, I mean, May and Walsh are so dominant, but I still wonder why they don't send Kerri Walsh to the net more. They like to alternate, and whoever serves, the other player does the blocking. In the Olympic finals, when they really wanted to put the hammer down, Kerri Walsh was blocking every single time, but they're not doing that here so far.
Walsh is an outstanding defensive player. You know, I think that may be Kerri Walsh, because she has told me in interviews that her favorite thing in volleyball, Mike Dodd, is to dig a ball and then go up and wham it.
And that was the same thing that Dane Selznick said. I talked to him. He said, you know, Kerri is a great athlete, and she likes to go out and play all phases of the game. And so I think she fights it a little bit. I think deep inside, when it's super crunch time, she knows she's got to go up and make things happen at the net. But until they reach that point, I think they like to split it up.
Dane Selznick, the coach for Misty May and Kerri Walsh. You saw him, if you watched beach volleyball in Athens, you saw him a lot. And down the line goes Annette Davis. So they're not blocking Davis, and she has cranked it up a notch.
And we saw her partner, Jenny, make a number of hitting errors, so that's where May and Walsh have to keep the serve away from the net. She's hitting so well throughout this final.
So now Kerri Walsh, who told me one of the favorite parts of the tour was when she got to meet Dennis Miller. She was on the Dennis Miller show. She said, that guy's a genius. He's really, really smart and very, very funny. Walsh over on 2. And she says to Karch Kerri and Mike Dodd, let me play defense. I don't need to block every single time.
Well, the key to that play wasn't who was at the net or playing defense. It was serving to Jordan. And they got the serve there, and that's where she made a number of hitting errors in the first game and got dug that time off a soft block by Misty May.
Now Kerri Walsh, who's been working on her jump serve a little bit. Here she comes. They'll try Jordan. And Jordan makes another hitting error. Her 8th, make that her 9th unforced error. We mentioned Rayford Johnson. I'm sure he's sitting at home somewhere in California with White Betsy going, hit the ball in. That's the only advice he's ever given to his daughter. Hit the ball in like that.
There you go. And you can see in Jenny a little bit of frustration with that high 10 to Annette. She knows she's the one, and the onus is on her to pick up her game right now. She's been responsible for the first game loss, and now she's got to come out and she's going to get some serves and she's got to make it happen.
And with May at the net on that last play, she can blast away a little more than with Kerri Walsh up there, who's got an extra almost 5-6 inches.
Jordan with only 3 kills. Misty, and Misty thumps it through. So Misty May with her 9th kill.
So efficient, sees the court so well.
Nice chopping. If you're going to use a shot or a poke, you have to make it good. Again, you can't just make a center of the field play. You have to really make it sharp.
Especially against Misty May playing defense, you can't just hit an indifferent shot. You have to really commit to something.
6-5. Misty is roofed. First block for Annette Davis, and she was up high.
Generally, a blocker is going to try to take one half of the court. That time, Annette stepped to her right and took the angle. Surprisingly, though, they don't go right back to Misty.
I don't understand that at all.
That's just simply a service error. I mean, you get a big block on a player, you want to keep the pressure on, and that time, just a service error. And
especially your first block of the match.
Yeah.
Got to go back and go for your second.
Misty. Davis hammers it. But right now, I don't think you want to serve Annette Davis. She is pounding away. Game 2, 7-7. Our women's championship final. Annette Davis and her partner Jenny Jordan trying to hang in with the Olympic champions. You're watching the AVP on NBC. Stay with us.
The McDonald's Big Mac Value Meal?
Child prodigy in volleyball, grew up in the volleyball family. Her dad an Olympian. Her mom was her inspiration. Her mom contracted cancer 4 years ago and died just after Sydney. The initials of her mom carved in her back, Barbara Grub May. There it is. And Butch May, her father, came to Athens and brought a little bit of her mother with her. Some ashes in a container. There they were when they were young. And Misty sprinkling the ashes on the court after the gold medal final.
It just felt really complete. just you know, her presence and just knowing that she was a part of it, even though she's physically not there, spiritually, you know, she was right there with us the whole time cheering us on.
Butch May is down on the sand, and Heather Cox has got it. Heather?
Chris, thanks so much. Butch, in 2000, you and your wife Barbara were able to support Misty. In 2004, you were there alone. What was it like for you emotionally to be really relied on solely for emotion and guidance to Misty?
Well, as long as you, I was there, Barbara was always there. You know, as long as we think about her, she's always there. And we brought her ashes to be a little bit, to add some sort of significance. The results were absolutely wonderful. And I still get emotional, but I know she's still there.
She's certainly there watching. And Butch, you were a 1968 Olympian indoor. What type of advice and support were you able, how were you able to help Misty out there to win that gold?
Well, learn your skills, you know, because that's part of the craft here. But to be basically all around. In order to be a beach player, you have to be an all-around player. You know, it's not just the big hitter. It's not just setting. There's only one person to rely on, and you're really without the other five. But when you round your game out and you're in shape, and you've got all the things going, and you've got a purpose, normally the results are significant.
The results were certainly special, and guys, Butch and Misty both know that Barbara's watching. In fact, Misty always thanks her on the good plays by looking up skyward. Back to you.
She sure does. Butch May, one of the greats of all time, maybe the greatest mixed player of all time, man-woman, terrific doubles player, and now father of Misty. He was the '68 Olympian. Now he's the father of Misty. 8-8 game 2. Davis and Jordan have elevated, and Walsh goes down the line.
You mentioned Butch May, and they had so many great competitive moments. I think a lot of Misty May's competitiveness comes from her parents. One time they were playing together, and Butch hit his wife's head in back of the head with a serve. They were so mad and competitive, they weren't winning.
Very difficult to play with a sibling, or a mom or a dad, as we found out in Athens, Greece, after watching the Swiss Latziga brothers.
Well, I tell you, there's something about the Olympics, though. I think even when you're during competition, sometimes I would find myself reflecting on your life and your parents and where you've been, and it's just such an emotional time, and you could hear it there in Butch's voice. I mean, it's still there.
Misty May and Kerri Walsh won game 1. It was a thumping. Game 2, Davis and Jordan leading 10-9. And it's an ace!
2 of those in a row off the net cord there. That's the one huge negative of that let serve rule, is when it catches the net, it is literally impossible for 2 players to get that up. With 6 indoors, there's always a setter standing nearby to pick that ball up, but not with 2.
What's wrong with that? That's a beautiful serve. There's nothing negative about that. That's an ace, Karch. The good players can do that. They just serve. Watch us get another one. Just missed. 11-9. Anyway, since when did you start thinking about serving so much?
When I saw those let cord serves, those lucky aces falling all through the Olympics, especially with the looser net cord there.
And again, we've seen it twice in this tournament already, where May and Walsh were so dominant in game 1, and they've lost their concentration here in game 2, and it's happening in this final.
12-9, Davis and Jordan. Another tough serve. This is how they did it yesterday. Tough serving, and Misty May cranks one up.
And that's the shot she could not hit. I shouldn't even call it a shot. That is the hard hit she couldn't make when her stomach was bothering her earlier this year. When you can hit that hard, it makes it so much more difficult on defense, because the defense has to dig in and then think about the shot second.
Misty May won a national championship under Coach Brian Gimolero at Long Beach State. She learned her lessons well. The Player of the Year in 1998. And Annette Davis says, I don't care. I was the Pac-10 Player of the Year, and I'll put that one away on you.
That's one of the toughest plays in volleyball to make, is because Annette Davis is right-handed. She's coming from the right side of the court. She has to come around that ball, but it was a perfectly placed set by her partner, Jenny Jordan.
Walsh and May in the black uniforms. Walsh goes and gets it. Oh, beautiful dig, but Davis can't go. So Jordan almost got it up. She's been playing brilliant defense this weekend. some shots coming at her. Shots.
Just so gifted, so quick. See the reaction there, and Annette Davis just can't get off the net and make that play.
13-11. Tough to get it over Kerri. And Misty taps it out. Had the right idea. That big knuckle up there. Went a foot too far.
What we call the pokey shot in beach volleyball. It would be completely ineffective indoors with 6 players to cover that court, but often works on the beach where there's one blocker at the net and the rest of the court completely having to be covered by the defender.
May is not passing well. Davis and Jordan taking advantage. Down the line they go. Some tough serving. If you want to beat the best team in the world, the Olympic gold medalists, you got to crank it up, and they have.
And the gold medalists have lost a little focus here in game 2. Uncharacteristic ball control errors.
Davis and Jordan on top of the Olympic gold medalists at the moment.
NBC Monday. On this island, the crimes are unique.
Mauna Kea killer. Kept it all out of the papers.
And their job is to protect paradise.
Ready, go! Step away from the body.
2 all-new episodes of Hawaii.
We have him wired up. Dane Selznick, can you hear us?
Sure can.
After a terrific game 1, your team has been faltering. What's happened to May and Walsh?
Well, they've been playing steady the whole time, and probably being more aggressive than the other team. And now, of course, Nettie gets those 2 free serves that let serve over the net, 2 free points, and it kind of changed the momentum. We have to pick it up again and not worry about those plays. Get the ball back to Jenny and start playing the defense that we did in the first game.
Sound advice. Get the ball to Jenny, and that's where they've had most of their success so far in this final.
15-11. Davis and Jordan have the lead. Dane Selznick, did you win that first game too easily, do you think? Might there have been a letdown?
Not at all. You know, I mean, I told him before the second game that, hey, expect Nettie to come out and start bombing. Now she's got to be more aggressive than she was, because I thought Nettie was a little bit complacent with her serving in the beginning. So, you know, it's a matter of Kerri and Misty maintaining the level and getting it back that they did in the first game.
Dane, this is Karch. During the Olympics, they often switched off blocking, but in the finals, it looked like they really wanted to put the hammer down and have Kerri Walsh blocking every single time. You think they might want to switch there and try to put the pressure on and finish this off in game 2 rather than going to game 3?
Oh, definitely. You know, we want to make sure that we have our best combination on defense. You know, and that is our best combination.
Dane, Chris Marlowe, who makes that call? Do Misty and Kerri make that call, or do you suggest that?
Well, sometimes Kerri feels like she wants to, you know, focus on her serve a little bit more and not worry about running all the way up. But right now, as you can see, she's starting to take control at the net.
And all right, Dane, thank you very much. We're going to let you concentrate down there. You've got a lot of work to do here in game 2. Well, your team is behind 16-14.
And thanks, Chris.
Thank you. And they did switch it up right there. Kerri is now coming to the net, so it was a good choice, whoever made the call, whether it was Dane or the players deciding themselves. But it immediately caused a hitting error on Jenny Jordan's part.
Once again, our thanks to Dane Selznick. Another hitting error. It's such a different feeling when you're up there against Kerri Walsh or Ricardo or Lambert or somebody like that.
Yeah, and we spoke about it earlier. It was almost, and this is not a knock on Misty May, but when she would be up there blocking the half of the serves, it's almost as a hitter like you got a break. And now when you have Kerri coming up full time, it just keeps the pressure on even more.
Take a whack at it. And a good put away for Jenny Johnson-Jordan. They were up 15-11. Now they lead 17-15. Jordan with 5 kills, but she's had 12 errors. Trying to cut that down and trying to get it to game 3. Nice serve. Walsh went and got it anyway. Chance for a point. Jordan. And just long. Ted Davis and Jordan making some superb defensive moves. And the crowd applauds a terrific rally.
Well, the problem is if you're not in good position to put that ball away, I think she's wiser to keep it in the last 5 feet of the court rather than hitting it out. They still have a chance to win later in that rally, and we've seen that 3 or 4 times this match so far, trying to make the perfect play instead of a good play and winning later.
Perfect pass, back set coming. And this is something that a lot of teams are doing now, a little misdirection. They run actually some plays, Mike Dodd, some behind sets, shoot sets, quick sets.
And all of it's trying to avoid the block of Kerri Walsh. You got to move it around, and I agree what you said earlier, Karch. I think, man, Walsh plays such great defense that sometimes as an opponent, you make a defensive play, you feel so much pressure to try to score immediately that you make the unforced error.
Misty May. And that's legal. That's okay. Back over to Walsh. Look out below. And Walsh taps it into the corner. Misty May and Kerri Walsh, they won game 1. They're trying to pump themselves up here in game 2 and pull it out.
And Walsh is poised to serve and come to the net again, something she did the whole gold medal match in an effort to put the hammer down on the Brazilians, Adriana and Shelda. Decided now in the middle of game 2, hey, we got too far behind. Let's make it happen here.
18-17. May and Walsh by 1. And down the line goes JJJ. So Jordan over the top. And she'll station herself at the net now.
And this will be the story. Jordan deals with that Kerri Walsh block up there at the net.
A 2-point advantage for Davis and Jordan. Another strong serve. Misty, got it.
I don't know if you heard on that play, but Kerri Walsh, after making the set, the setter tries to help out her hitter, and she said, line, 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 but Misty May sees the court so well, she ignored that call and did the complete opposite shot, and that's a very sharp angle shot, even though it's soft. We call it the cut shot.
She was committed to that cut shot, and it was a beauty. 19-18. And smacking it home again is Jordan. So the 2000 Olympian, her dad was the decathlete, her mother the karate champion, and now she's getting set to hammer a serve here. First game point for Davis and Jordan. And Misty puts it away.
Annette was in no position to block that ball. You could see it from the side. Her shoulders came way off the net, but now they have an opportunity on serve receive where you have the ball in your hand.
Second game point, Davis and Jordan. And the serve is out of bounds. So we're going to the third and final game. Annette Davis and Jenny Jordan on a 2-tournament win streak. They're the only team that has beaten May and Walsh. They'll try to do it again in game 3.
We live in a world of illusions.
The AVP Nissan Series Chicago Open presented by McDonald's, brought to you by Aquafina, proud sponsor of the Aquafina AVP Shootout in Las Vegas, September 9th through the 11th. By Xbox, it's good to play together. And by Hall's Fruit Breezers. Soothe your dry, scratchy throat with Hall's Fruit Breezers. Treat your throat. AVP Nissan Series continuing the Chicago Open presented by McDonald's, a big one. We're in our women's championship final. And reminder, next week, more volleyball on NBC. We'll be on the beach next Sunday at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific for the Aquafina AVP Shootout presented by Bud Light. We'll be in Las Vegas. Yeah!
Baby, close your eyes and listen to the music. Dig to the summer breeze. It's a groovy night and I can show you how to use it. Then come along with me and put your mind at ease. Less conversation, a little more action. All this aggravation and satisfaction in me. A little more bite, a little less spark. A little less fight, a little more spark. Close your mouth and open up your heart and make it satisfy me.
Aquafina AVP Shootout presented by Bud Light next Sunday, 4 Eastern.
I only saw women in that. I hope they're having a men's tournament there because I'm hoping to play in it.
Karch Kerri expected to be fully recovered from a back injury. And hopefully we'll be playing with Mike Lambert. If not, John Hayden most likely will be back in action. Now, we're set for some drama on our championship court. Third and final game. The Olympic gold medalists, Misty May and Kerri Walsh, up against it with a motivated team. How motivated are they? Davis and Jordan. And Walsh tomahawks it down. First game was dominated by Walsh and May. Second game, Davis and Jordan much better.
Well, and the real difference, we saw those two service aces. We call them aces, even though they're plays of luck. The two serves in a row by Davis that rolled off the tape and over the net for points, and they won by 2 points.
High line reach. Remember, Davis and Jordan have a 2-tournament win streak against May and Walsh. They were the team that knocked them out at Manhattan. They stopped the 15-tournament win streak, the 90-match win streak. They stopped history. Then they beat them yesterday.
And more good news for them. And so you look at those statistics, they've had 17 unforced errors, yet they're right in this match.
And the serve is out.
Make that 18 and still in this match.
And counting.
The serve is so crucial for Davis and Jordan. They've been doing a pretty good job of putting heat on May and Walsh.
And the most important mistake so far, unforced errors-wise, was Walsh's serve at the end of game 2, 20-19. It was, they talked about brains of mush after all the publicity tour they've been on. That one hurt them.
What a play by Walsh and May. Walsh speared it up. And Misty with a set.
So again, coming out here in game 3, Kerri Walsh there. She's going to rev it up to jump serve and then follow it into the net.
Walsh has 14 digs as they get off to a fast start, 3-1. And tapping it down, Holly McPeak and Elaine Youngs, Kerri Bush, Nancy Mason, both in 3rd place. Pat Keller of Cardiff and Wendy Stammer of Oregon got 5th, along with Angie Akers and Rachel Walkholder. Barb Fontana, Jen Kessie, Leanne McSorley, Jennifer Meredith, also 7th. Misty line. And what is Annette Davis doing wrong on the block, Karch?
Her hands are coming away from the net too far. Great blockers need to not reach as high as they can get. You can see her hands are not even across the net. Your hands have to cross the plane of the net and reach over as far as you can. It's like making a shadow on the ball that covers more court the farther you reach over and across.
Misty with the spinner. And pounding hard was Annette Davis. So Annette Davis with her 10th kill.
And probably not going to see a lot more serves after that. And
4-3. Misty. Oh, beautiful dig. Jordan. And Misty on 2. So Misty took a look. She has a very nice cut shot.
Yes, she does. I'm actually surprised, though. Kerri Walsh has talked before about how she doesn't like to run the on-2 offense, and she probably likes to feast on those great Misty May sets. But this time, she doesn't ask for one. She says, you put it away, Misty. That's very unusual play for them to run, especially with Misty May being right-handed.
5-3, Kerri Walsh serving. And into the net.
That time, Kerri Walsh making a very good decision, reading the set, dropping off to play defense, keeping the pressure on, and another unforced error.
And it keeps the pressure on because Kerri Walsh is such a good defensive player that Jenny feels she has to make the perfect hit to get it past the Kerri Walsh who dropped off to play defense.
Jordan. And Jordan whacks it out of bounds, sideways. So Jenny Jordan struggling a bit on attack. 3rd and final game. The gold medalists are leading 6-4.
I thought the boys were going for pizza.
Pizza?
That's what Jimmy said.
No.
A reminder coming up next, NBC proudly presents the inaugural First Tee Open at Pebble Beach, presented by Walmart. Don't miss the top teenage golfers as they tee it up with some of the legends. Tom Watson, Hale Irwin, and Arnold Palmer. That's the First Tee Open at Pebble Beach, presented by Walmart. Coming up next after volleyball, Chris Marlowe, Karch Kerri, Mike Dodd, Heather Cox, and a cast of thousands. The score reads 6-4, but Karch, do you think that is correct?
Well, they called Kerri Walsh on Annette. That was the question because Jenny Jordan hit that last ball out. Didn't hear or see the net called until after we went to break.
So things tightening up in the 3rd and final game. Misty May, who has admittedly said this weekend that she is running on fumes, trying to get by with the Whirlwind Tour, the play in Atlanta, make that in Athens, and the flights all around the country going on show after show. 7-4 now. Jordan. When a blocker is retreating and you have a chance to hit, where's the best place to hit it?
Between, as that hit went there, because both players went for it, and even if they get it up, it's often hard for the player who doesn't touch the ball to change momentum, as Misty May can't change momentum in that play there and turn around and get the ball.
Annette Davis will serve it. Misty. And Misty's got it.
See, with most players, when they drop off the net, another good hit is just to whack it at them as hard as you can, because the good blockers are often not good defenders. But with May and Walsh, she's such a good defender, Walsh is, that a better play is to hit it between the two.
8-5 our score. Tapping. That's coming over. And Jordan says, take that. 8-6.
Just a couple of great plays by Kerri Walsh there, reacting to soft blocks at the net.
And right there, that was a superb play by Walsh. She is so amazing, the best player in the world at being up so high above the net and getting down and making a play only a foot off the sand, quicker than anybody in the world at doing that.
Here's May. And May over the top.
And it seems like Davis and Jordan are giving Misty May so many serves, and right now Misty's in a groove. She's seeing the court so well, and they might want to be thinking about switching it up.
Misty May engaged to be married to Florida Marlin catcher Matt Trainer, just called up by the big club for the stretch run. He and Paul LaDuca handling the catching chores. They met working out at a local gym after getting rehab together. And a cut shot.
Misty may have to get on the Greek program with Jeff Nygaard getting married over there, a U.S. Olympian, and Mike Lambert, another great player, also getting married during the Olympics.
9-7. Misty has received 31 serves and Walsh just 5. So May and Walsh closing in on another win.
See, Chris, you can't dial in that trickler over the net every time.
They're working on it, Karch. They are working on it. Nobody up for Davis. And Davis pounds it through.
And again, such a difficult play for a right side player to hit that ball on two coming over your shoulder. You can't see anything. You just got to turn and crank.
See, if she were left-handed, that would be an easy one. But making that hit, doesn't that make your shoulder ache, Mike? It hurts mine just to watch.
Let's see if Jordan. They'll try Kerri Walsh once.
They heard Mike.
And cross court. Now Kerri Walsh, who says, I love my life, I love my job, this is our passion.
And in some ways, this will be a more impressive accomplishment to me, winning this tournament after all they've been through, after winning the gold medal, then winning the Olympics themselves, where they were so focused and so ready to perform, and clearly the dominant team.
That spike is out. May and Walsh get another point. Misty May and Kerri Walsh. There's no team in the world that can beat them at their best. There are some teams that can compete when they're not at their best, and I think that's what's happening today, but still showing class here as they now lead 12-8, and a good timeout for Davis and Jordan. So the third and final game, we're playing to 15. May and Walsh, the darlings of the Athens Olympic Games. They are 3 points away from another win.
All right, you got on the sands of Las Vegas. The Aquafina AVP Shootout presented by Bud Light. Next Sunday, 4 Eastern, NBC.
Back in Chicago, the Chicago Open presented by McDonald's. 12-8, our Earthlink block of the match. We had to scour, our production team from NBC scouring the reels looking for an appropriate block, Karch.
Well, we've got the stats here. We've got Davis with 1 block in the match, Walsh with 1 block, and Mr. Net with the 3rd block right there. So we'll give that block of the match to Mr. Net on that play.
Earthlink block of the match. That was a sweet one.
He really penetrated the plane of the net well there, didn't he?
Mr. Net is always there.
Misty May and Kerri Walsh, the #1 team in the world, Olympic champions. On the other side of the net, the team that didn't get to go. Annette Davis and Jenny Johnson-Jordan, the 5th-ranked team in the world. Jordan and Davis beat May and Walsh yesterday in an earlier match, but today it looks like May Walsh. They lead at 12-8 in a game to 15. Jordan has been very erratic in this game.
Well, the story of the match has been she's received now 36 serves, but on those plays, she's made 16 errors. Errors are hitting the ball out, hitting the ball into the net. You mentioned Mr. Net before, Mike, or getting blocked. And the ones that are okay are getting blocked, but hitting out is a bigger error, a bigger sin.
And a service error, the 3rd this game. And May and Walsh now with a commanding 13-9 lead. It's the coronation weekend for Misty May and Kerri Walsh here in the United States as Jenny Jordan fires one through.
Kerri Walsh showing how much she loves to play defense. She drops off the net there. Probably would have been better off staying up at the net and blocking. It's always a break for a hitter when you see such a great blocker like her, or you'll see Mike Lambert later. When he drops off the net, when a great blocker drops off, it's like open season.
13-10. Misty. Off the net? No. Misty May gets the kill. And now the Thundersticks are revved up here in Chicago. Those yellow whackers. Championship point for the gold medalists. Misty May, 20 kills. Walsh is at the net. Over the top, Misty's got it. Walsh, and she puts it away. Misty May and Kerri Walsh have done it again here in Chicago.
And it wasn't easy. It was a tough way all the way through the tournament, losing early on and working